Hello, this is newwaveofbritishheavymetal.com. Let's have a look in this little video back at a band right back from the original New Wave of British Heavy Metal days, Robespierre. Now, I guess you might call them something of an underground band from way back then. You know, when the New Wave of British Heavy Metal ruled the world. They were so underground that they didn't even play a gig to my knowledge at least. And they appeared to want them keep themselves to themselves so much that back then in the 1980s, bar a couple of demos, which I believe were never officially released, little to nothing's known about the band. Those demos from the 80s might be deemed, a restricted circulation to close contacts of the band. Other than that, nothing, as I've said. But Robespierre nonetheless did have a bit of a cult status, but then disappeared. You know, that's it really. I mean, what else can I say? Not much. But however, those demos did eventually see the light of day a few years ago after they were released on CD as Die You Heathen Die via the Skull label. Now that is, if you can get your hands on it, do that Die You Heathen Die and those early demos. Really great listen. There's 9 tracks there of like doomy new wave of British heavy metal style stuff with earthy originality. There's some really crunching heavy riffs, somewhere around what bands like Witchfind and Venom were doing back then, but Robespierre's got a sound all of their own, and there's a touch of humour thrown into it as well. Now that CD, Die You Heathen Die, via Skull Records, I believe was a limited run. I managed to get hold of one a couple of 3 years ago via a friend on Facebook that managed to track it down through the band's Facebook page. But then, I don't know if it's still available or not through that route. But spring forward 4 decades or so from the early 80s, and Robespierre came out of the shadows, reformed, played one of the Brofest festivals, if anyone remembers them. I'm not sure if they still happen, but a few years ago Robespierre did reform and play that Brofest. But disappeared again, out they came, disappeared again. However, what we do have, and this came out a couple of years ago as well, I'm only just getting around to doing this video now, Robespierre did release a debut album of all original material, Garden of Hell. And it's really good stuff. It's all in the style of that classic new wave of British heavy metal period around about the early 1980s, and all of a sudden it's 1983 all over again. And it's really, really excellent that Robespierre have done this after so long and being, almost as though they never existed. On Garden of Hell, we've got all those doomy sounds that are on those demos, the Die You Heathen Die stuff. All that proper authentic rawness is there. The riffs are sometimes plodding, sometimes fast. There's a good level of catchiness going on too, and at times, that tongue-in-cheek humour that's always been there. They don't take themselves too seriously either, which just like adds to the fun and mystery, I guess. Check out Punish Oppressors, for example. What a crunching song that is. Takes no prisoners. Dwelling in the Shadows takes doom to another extreme. Feed the Fires as heavy as you like. Men of Violence got a really memorous chorus chant that speeds along really, really fast. And even like the closer, I Am a Flower in the Garden of Hell. What a title, right? It's tasty, slow burner which comes to life later on. Now, Garden of Hell is much more than a new wave of British era heavy metal band coming back from obscurity and just going through the motions. It's much more than that. Robespierre give evidence that whilst they remain true to that new wave of British heavy metal origin, that they can still compete today, and I think it's a real top job. The CD, Garden of Hell, again I believe was a limited run. I got mine a couple of years ago via Amazon. I've had a look today, which is the 19th of November 2020, and it's still available on Amazon. and also on the labels Bandcamp page. I've put links to both the Amazon and Bandcamp pages underneath in the description, as well as a link to the blog post if you'd like to read that. And I believe also on Bandcamp there's a digital download available for you modern types that like all that kind of stuff. I don't, it's a CD or nothing for me. But do check it out. Robespierre, much more than a curiosity, much more than obscurity. You know, it's a band that really do it well and keep the new wave of British heavy metal style as well. Excellent stuff. As I've said, check it out. Amazon link, Bandcamp link below. Before I disappear, the usual plea, if I may, and that's if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, that would be a huge help. It really would, and appreciated. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.